But what also interests me is how those people who have up to now either tacitly or untacitly supported this coming to grips with the reality. Now, in England is an interesting case because there you do have a Labour Party that is as indebted to this shit as the Democrats have become. However, what happened was that they had
kept the ban on puberty blockers, and
Well, what I'm saying is no. What happened is that this is what the British do. They commission a report. This is what and it's done by some very grand person with a sir or a lady or a lord in front of it, and they come up with a paper that is the objective take. And in fact, the Cass Review was an amazingly important document. It's extraordinary. I've read all the critiques of it. I mean, it holds up. It is a quite modest statement, which is, we don't know. We can't know. So far, there's no good evidence here. That's all it says, which is not exactly a radical statement. But that was how Labour was able to suddenly say, my old buddy Keir was finally able to say, yeah, no, a woman does not have a penis. He finally said that sentence on television, which amazingly Kamala Harris cannot say. Now what? So let's look at the Democrats because, and this is what, and the gay groups, all these people. I've been bashing my head against the wall with. You've seen me. I mean, I'm screaming. I don't know what to do because they will say two things. They will say, we have got to be kind, which means you cannot have a different argument because to have a different understanding is somehow immoral, which is completely crazy. The other thing is you cannot hurt a marginalized population. In other words, there's a sacralization of people. And then there's also this notion that children know who they are, which of course is self-evidently the dumbest thing anybody ever said. But they can't move. They can't move because if they move, they're genocidals, right? And if they can't move, they lie. And then you have the parents. How are they going to acknowledge at any point that what they did was wrong? Well, I'm amazed there isn't more anger at doctors and parents. But I think the reason is once you have made that decision, it is insane for you it becomes impossible for you to believe you made the wrong one because you've done something to your child that otherwise would be unforgivable. So all those things are preventing the left and the Democrats from moving. And I cannot believe how paralyzed they are. You pointed out 2 or 3 cases of quite minor distinctions, but there is no shift on any of the major policy prescriptions. There is no shift on any of the formal policies. And So I don't know how they get it out of their heads, how they move forward.
The entire memeplex, all of the rhetorical gambits, all of the dogmas, all of the mantras, all of the concepts themselves, and they don't even really rise to the level of concepts. The concepts are just what's in I Am Jazz, right? We can all be male, female, both or neither. Fundamentally, there's no way to talk about this without making reference to the magic, right, to the mysticism. But it was all engineered to make any kind of backtracking impossible, and it worked exactly as planned. It was all carefully and rigorously engineered to make it so that there's no way to say no to any part of it without being seen to abandon every part of it. And so the perfect example of the rhetorical gambit, and we're going to return to Strangio again, is Strangio tweeted, if you're upset, right, about a transgender girl playing against girls in sports, it's because you don't really think that the transgender girl is a real girl, right? Now that's a form of rhetorical, it's a dare, right? And it's a dare that Democrats are not able to take. But Republicans are very happy to say, yeah, that's what we think. And in fact, it's true, right? The transgender girl is not a real girl. And that's why we can't have them in sports. So even Gavin Newsom, he got up, he said it's deeply unfair for a boy. He said it's Charlie Kirk, right? Gavin Newsom did a podcast. He invited Charlie Kirk as his first guest. And he told Charlie Kirk, my 13-year-old son is a big fan of yours. And it's the reason and he was paying tribute to the fact that he knew, and that some of us know, which is that young men under the age of 25 or something like that, moved to the right, over 2 years by 44 points, right, in the polling. They moved by 44 points. Like, that doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen, right, in the history of the world. But it's happened with the Democrats. And Newsom is attempting to be farsighted, and he brought Charlie Kirk on, and one of the things that he said to him was, yeah, it's obviously it's unfair for transgender inclusion in sports. Now, the next question that raises is, well, why is it unfair? Why is it unfair? Can you say the reason why it's unfair? The reason it's unfair is that a transgender girl is a boy. A transgender girl is a boy who is deeply invested in the idea that he's a girl, and that the whole blue stack, the Democratic Party and affiliated institutions at every level of government, and made a promise to him that, you can be a girl if you want to be a girl. This is a new form of freedom that this powerful vanguard that has captured major institutions of the Western world, right, and made it so that we're going to deliver this future to you, okay? And they didn't really think about it. Nobody thought about it.